I honestly have no idea how long it's been since the last BattleTech video, but we're finally back. Apologies to all of you guys who have been waiting. I kind of usually get super obsessed about anything new that I get into, and I just kind of hyperfixate on that. But we're back, and I'm definitely going to be finishing all these videos in sequential order, because the BattleTech universe is just so fascinating to me after the first two videos that we did. I kind of want to do these in sequential order, so I'm hoping that this video is the first one. The play is a little bit messed up in terms of the order of videos, but this one seems to be the oldest, so hopefully I got it right. I will be doing two videos in this one because I think the first two are on the shorter side, and we'll change it up from there. But of course, as always, before we get into the video, make sure to head to the link at the very top of the description to head over to Texas channel and support the OG video. This entire series is amazing, and it deserves all the love that you can give. But with that out of the way, let's learn more about Battle.
Versus I truly love BattleTech. Having grown up with BattleTech and
honestly, that's like my favorite content ever on YouTube. Whenever somebody just geeks out about something that they're super passionate about, there's just something about listening to that makes me happy. There's honestly a lot of things that I personally do want to talk about as well, but still working on the script for a lot of those videos.
been a mech nerd for such a long time, I figured this series is, well, overdue, and also might prove interesting, at least to a few, where I can talk lore, see bills, and glory in the BattleTech universe. So to start this series off, let's begin appropriately with my favorite mech, the Awesome. Specifically,
literally?
the AWS 8Q Awesome.
Heck yeah.
The Awesome was first designed by Technicron Manufacturing in Merrick Space. That'd be the Free Worlds League for the rest of you. Or
Okay.
those weird Austro-Hungarian space nobility guys, for the few who identify with that. Starting production in 2665, the Awesome was intended originally to replace the Striker, which is one of those classic Star League-era assault mechs that had been around for a while.
The Striker looks pretty chonky, very cylindrical. I can only guess that the cylinder design was kind of made in order to deflect any bullets sent their way, and it almost looks like it has flippers.
And has long since faded into obscurity, in no small part thanks to the Secession Wars. Hell, by the loss of their Stormvanger lines in the mid-2800s, there were fewer than 300 Strikers in the entire inner sphere. But the Awesome did more than replace the Striker. It became legend. The Awesome is such a feared battle mech, a common saying in the inner sphere is the only defense against an Awesome is another Awesome. Then again, that may be a corporate tagline to sell Awesomes.
Why is it so good?
Which they did, to virtually everyone. So why so popular?
Yeah.
The list of features is incredibly pleasing to every mercenary lord and inner sphere successor state alike. Concentrating principally on an energy-based weapons platform with 28 heat sinks to keep things relatively cool, the Awesome can maul anything that walks and be the last mech standing every time. None of the technical stuff. As I said, the Awesome, or at least the principal model of the AWS 8Q, is an energy-based weapons system. The AWS 8Q has 3 PPCs and a small laser. In addition, it has a battle fist at the end of its left arm.
Yes, robot punch.
Meaning it is quite capable of pummeling an enemy even if everything else is broken, which is
For those of you who have played XCOM and XCOM 2, well, I'm kind of more used to XCOM 2, but seeing the sparks run up to an alien and punch it in the face, sending it ragdolling, is honestly one of the most entertaining things. And because of how many soldiers those aliens have killed, I feel absolutely no remorse. Now, while I do own the BattleTech game, I think it's a turn-based strategy game from what I remember, I'm not really sure if there's any like melee combat in that. If there is, I definitely gotta try it out to see how satisfying it is.
unlikely, given the sheer amount of goddamn armor on it. And Awesome is an impressively armored mech, carrying 15 tons of armor, which makes it one of the most heavily armed 80-ton assault mechs in the universe. In fact, it has some of the heaviest rear armor of any known battle mech, even by later era standards. meaning that often enough it will, as I've said, be the last mech standing in any engagement.
So even if you surprise it from behind, it'll probably still be able to tank those shots and give it enough time to turn on you. Then I'm assuming that probably other mech designs didn't have as much armor in the back, and that was kind of a weak point, which was what made ambushes more effective. I guess the reason why you would do that is probably to increase mobility or maybe save on cost. But because of this extra armor, does that mean the Awesome is slower than the other mechs, but because of its heavier firepower it makes up for that? Or is it simply just a better manufacturing process in order to make the Awesome? A lot of questions just from this extra added back armor.
It's kept cool with 28 single heat sinks, and the Pitband 240 standard engine helps it lumber around at a reasonable assault mech speed of 54 kph. Should be noted that the Garrett T-19G communication system is the same used by the ancient and venerable ANH-2A Annihilator, a mech that would shock the Inner Sphere when introduced, or rather reintroduced, by the Wolf's Dragoons in 3009. There are many interesting variants of the Awesome, some of which serve as useful LRM platforms, where others incorporate lost tech in the form of XL engines or ERPPCs or even double heatsinks.
There are so many terms being thrown out here that I have absolutely no idea about. I can kind of understand how Serby feels whenever I talk about computer parts and stuff. Eventually, I'm gonna be able to pick up on a lot of this, but yeah. For now, I'm just gonna try and infer as much as possible.
Manufactured and sold through 3 consortiums over its history, Technicron, Irian Battlemechs Unlimited, and Lycombe Davion Introtech, the Awesome is a readily available and surprisingly affordable mech for any mercenary unit or house guard. Comparatively, the AWS 8Q costs a modest 6.5 million C-bills.
Modest.
Whereas a similar 80-ton mech like the Victor and Thug are well over 8 million. Now I know what some of you are thinking, and by some of you I mean clanner scum. Yes, you can field a 75-ton Mad Cat, or as you call it, a Timberwolf, which is a more versatile weapon system by far than an Awesome. Until you look at the cost. 75 tons of Mad Cat is 24 million C-bills.
Jeez.
Oh, but Tex, I play tabletop and I don't use C-bills. I go by battle value, you say. Okay, a Mad Cat ranges between 2252 battle value points and 2737 battle value.
Jeez, then yeah, you can just field much more of these and probably get even better results. That makes me even more curious then, as to like exactly how this would pan out, because there has to be a reason why you would use the other mechs, right? Is it more of a situational thing? Or is there like a meta where these are just the best mechs?
Value points, and Awesome ranges between 1358 and 1605. I rest my case. That is, unless you play tonnage versus tonnage, in which case, shame on you. Shame. Anyways,
I didn't know there
hope
was
you
these
enjoyed,
different
and if you
ways
have anything
to
else you want me to cover in one of these
apply.
text talks,
Improved immensely. Also, I just noticed the GOAT Mandalore Gaming himself commented on this. If you've never watched any of his reviews before, I highly recommend them. Especially the Marathon series. Fall into the rabbit hole with me. And the next one, the Atlas. Looks like a giant skeleton man with very big bones. He's not fat, he's just big boned.
Enemy mech destroyed.
That was cute.
Hey folks, Tex of the Black Pants Legion, and it's time to talk BattleTech. In this series, I will be exploring BattleTech as a setting, talking about the lore, the wars, the people, and most importantly, the mechs.
Yes.
In the setting of BattleTech, sooner or later, you're going to see an Atlas. Probably because it's the very definition of an assault mech. It's big. It's scary. It even has a fucking spooky skull face. I mean, what's not to love? At
Yes.
100 tons even, and spouting enough armor and weaponry to crush most mechs head-on or underfoot. The Atlas is an iconic representation of the assault mech class.
Okay.
Intimidating, bold, and angry. The Atlas was originally designed under specifications from none other than Alexander Kerensky himself in 2755, probably in a bid to ensure that the Star League Defense Force maintained absolute military superiority over untrustworthy and fickle member states. Perhaps Kerensky saw the future coming, with the constant arms race of the Inner Sphere hastening its demise.
But like, how necessary was it to make the head look like a skull? Because all these other mechs that we've seen here, they all have like very round shapes. They're kind of like a torpedo or like the cockpit of an airplane or something. I guess you just got to make your design iconic in order to strike fear into the hearts of your foes.
Thus wanted to guarantee that any rebellious notions were quashed upon seeing the full might of the SLDF. Kerensky's specifications are somewhat poetic, though in truth practical
Yo
as the man
mama?
was himself. Kerensky was directly quoted to say that he wanted a mech as powerful as possible, as impenetrable as possible, and as ugly and foreboding as conceivable, so that fear itself will be
Oh
our
my
ally.
god, that actually was the reason. Oh man. Yeah, I love it. I love it when series just want to be unapologetically awesome. That is like my favorite catchphrase ever. Anything that is unapologetically, although, well, it is kind of hard to say for me, unapologetically awesome is exactly what I want to see. Another series that does this is Guilty Gear. If any of you guys are interested in fighting games, I'd highly recommend it. And even if you're not, the lore there is actually really fun. But anyways, back to BattleTech.
Perhaps not the words to share with the general public. However, it's just the right choice of words for dedicated engineers who turn the mighty forges of war. From the Ameris Civil War to Operation Exodus, through the Succession Wars, the Clan Invasion, and the FedCom Civil War, from Solaris 7 to the Battle of Luthien, the Atlas has stood its ground and pounded flat all opposition. Built by Defiance Industries, Independent Weaponry, Robinson Standard Battle Works, and Yori Mech Works, there is no shortage of the Atlas. Merely enough for whatever the hell you need one for. If you can afford it, that is. Oftentimes the Atlas is just the perfect weapon system for the job. That job slowly entails steamrolling a planet's defenses flat, comfortably seated in the confines of your Death's Head cockpit. That's quite reasonable for 9.6 million C-bills on the open market. Now to the technical details. Because of the widespread production of the Atlas and the sheer longevity and popularity of its design, it becomes very difficult to say with any certainty what a standard Atlas is, as almost everyone is a unique individual as its pilot. Oftentimes an Atlas will be handed down, as they have a tendency to outlive their commanders, each in turn adding to, modifying, or fine-tuning the death machine for yet another generation of classy, stompy robot mayhem.
I mean, it makes sense. It's built to last. You're sitting in there in the cockpit, you're probably gonna get blasted at some point. Like, that's just inevitable unless if you're like some sort of named character who has a little bit of plot armor, which I'm not really sure if the BattleTech universe has anybody like that, or like any particular group like that. Because I'm thinking of a 40k comparison with like the Ultramarines or like any named Space Marine, really. But also with how costly they are, it does make a lot of sense that they would just reuse an old one. It might be a lot cheaper to simply repair it up, renovate it, and update its weapons or stuff like that.
Standard Atlas, if you can call that such a thing, is the AS-7D. A mech built around commonly available standard technologies to ensure relatively common availability of spare parts, upgrades, and ammunition. The AS-7D has 19 tons.
That's a good point, actually. The logistic aspect of it is also very important. Like, you can build something incredibly powerful, but if you don't have the ammo to fire your weapon, then you're going to be kind of useless. Especially if you don't know where the battlefield is going to happen. Like, you got to be adaptable.
Of Duralex heavy special armor, 20 single stack heat sinks, a Defiance Mech Hunter AC-20 autocannon, 4 Defiance B3M medium lasers, a Thunderstroke SRM-6 launcher, a Farfire Maxi Rack LRM-20, and enough ammunition to keep it running for a fun-filled evening of carnage. The Atlas is built around combat survivability at its core, keeping in mind a philosophy of redundancy. The Atlas's weapon systems are bracketed for all ranges, assuming you will want to close with and stomp your opponent. That is, after showing them their weapons are useless against you. LRMs for long range, medium lasers for intermediate range, the SRMs and autocannon for short range, and mighty battle fists for Mechwarrior fisticuffs. If anything runs out of ammunition, there are energy-based systems. If nothing else works, there are mighty fists to pummel an opponent to dirt. In between, there is armor. Truly, the Atlas lives up to its principal design considerations: assault. As previously stated, there are so many variants and versions of the Atlas that it's fairly impossible
to figure out
the base models, as each is often as unique as the pilot that drives it, the unit that bought it, or where it was.
I don't even want to know what that thing in the back there on the leash is. Is that considered a pet? Oh, God. Whatever happened to owning a normal dog? Also, the armor these guys are wearing on the left here is pretty interesting. Of course, all the videos that we've done have usually talked about the mechs. I'm not really sure whether or not there's any lore on some of the more minor stuff. I know that there's obviously a lot of lore behind the political agendas of every single, what would you even call them? Nation? Faction? Houses. I think they use houses.
There are variants as command mechs. There are variants built by successor houses like the Kirita-built AS-7K. There's even a Clan-Tech patchwork retrofit popular among certain mercenary units. In particular, the AS-7D, (C), which puts Clan-Tech ballistic and missile weapons alongside Inner Sphere energy weapons. This doesn't even begin to get into the unique one-offs built by Warlords, Mercenary Lords, and Solaris pilots. And further, the Atlas has spawned another mech, which was a subversion or enhanced version of the original, the Atlas II, which was technically an exclusive variant to the Starleague Defense Forces Royal Regiments. Nearly forgotten by the clan invasion, only one was spotted during the 3052 Battle of Tukiyid.
Only one.
Which mech do you want to see next? What part of this universe shall I dive into? I'll let you decide down in the comments. This channel is entirely brought to you by viewers like you, so keep that in mind.
Yes, please go and support Tax.
Hell, even throwing some money into the change jar that is my Patreon. You're only encouraging this shit. Anyways, I'll see you guys later.
More of this. Yes, so much more of this. Oh, these are so good.
Hi, my name is Ray, and on yesterday my daughter called me because she was stressed out because of things that were going on her job that she felt were quite unfair. Being quite disturbed, she called for comfort, and I didn't really know what to tell her because we have to deal with so much mess in our society. So I was led to write this song just for her. To just give her some encouragement while dealing with stress and pressures on her job. And I figured I'd put it on the internet for all employees under stress to help you better deal with what you're going through on your job. Here's how the song goes. I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Oh, I'm about to whip somebody's ass.
Oh my God, this is amazing.
If you don't leave me alone,
it's genius.
You're gonna have
so
to
perfectly
send
for the
me
Atlas too.
home. 'cause I'm about to whip somebody's ass. Now, you might not be able to sing that out loud, but you can hum it to yourself, and you know what the words are, and let it give you some strength to get through the next few moments on your job. All right? Stay strong.
Thank
Peace.
you. Thank you, Atlas-san. Man, these videos are so refreshing to me. It's like a very different take on telling the lore about a certain series that really energizes me instead of giving me a slight headache because I have to try and remember every single thing. Text really does have like an amazing formula going on, and I can't praise it enough. But of course, if you guys made it to this point of the video, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to go support Tex, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully, not too long after this video. I'll try to stay focused.